Is Mulan a bad movie? Yes. Now, without getting entangled into the politics of boycotts and Chinese nationalism, because that will take too long, Mulan is just boring. The protagonist barely moves her face, no one in the movie has a personality, the battle scenes are okay. The overall film is not terrible, but it's very by the numbers and just okay. But the things that irritate me are the things that make no sense. Unfortunately, the stupid things are not just restricted to the battle scenes, they permeate the very core of the film. The film opens with Mulan chasing what appears to be a spring chicken, and this metaphorical foreshadowing is subverting expectations of Mulan, who is expected to bring honor to the family by marriage, yet later defies conventions of Chinese culture by growing up, then gearing up to murder-killing dudes. It's busy work, she's got no time for a boyfriend. This early setup also has Superhuman pole vaulting, which also established that Disney was really trying to make a new Star Wars movie. So the movie establishes from the get-go that she's young, she's got chi, quote, speaking through her every motion, end quote. In this universe, this lets her do crazy backflips through the air, kick spears, and send them flying. It's basically the Force. What's the problem with that? Well, it just switches the focus of the story from an ordinary person who triumphs through dedication and courage to being just born with it.
Don't forget, kids, you can't succeed unless your daddy is rich.
In the original, she joins the army and she sucks at fighting, but her gradual progress and persistence and development builds character. She used to be relatable and a role model, and that lets the audience care. Now new Mulan is doing all this crazy shit and jumping on buildings and having the midi-chlorians, and it's not the same! The directors decided to remove characterization and trade it for showy magic shit. Why not make it so she learns a chi, like 3/4 way in the movie, and she has to work for it? That way at least she'd be kind of relatable. The moral went from being about perseverance, training, and outsmarting people to just being born powerful, which is how it works in the real world. Thanks for the reality check, Mulan, you really made my day.
To be fair to the 2020 version, in this film, Mulan does train. She carries water uphill, she does martial arts, but the context has now changed into her hiding her supernatural powers rather than her learning the skills and trying to persevere to become a soldier. So in 2020, the training is a front to conceal her true potential, whereas in 1998, it's a genuine attempt to become a better person.
The journey is less about her learning the skills and confidence to be awesome, but more with being true to herself, which in all fairness is still development, but it's not as inspiring. An underdog who fights her way up is an inherently captivating story because your challenges are harder and more relatable. But now she's just a wizard, fighting the plot. Another problem is she's just not likable. Why should I care about you? You're not funny, you have less expression than a plank of wood.
1998 Mulan has more expression and emotional range, and she's a literal cartoon. She laughs, she smiles, her banter with other soldiers is hilarious. I care. 2009 Mulan becomes a general and fights many battles and is worn down by the deaths of so many brethren. There is a riveting scene where she stares at the rows of wooden dead name tags and contemplates the cost of war. She becomes depressed and wants to quit, but fights on from duty after almost all her friends.
The other named characters the movie gives screen time to are murdered in combat, and Mulan's inaction leaves a general friend without support, and everyone thinks she doesn't care. This Mulan is a literal jaded war veteran. The despondency and dark tone are interesting. How is she going to get out of this? It's emotional and captivating, so I care.
Then we have this, and this.
Actually, none of the characters are fleshed out. You have this guy who gets a few lines, and then everyone else is a stereotype. They're just a face that says a few things. They don't feel like real human beings. What does this guy fear? What is he fighting for? What does he hate? See? You don't know, because neither did the producers. However, since the chi restriction is tied to being female, you could interpret this as being true to gender equality, which is a fair theme to explore. But older versions of Mulan also explore that theme in addition with the underdog thing.
I think the magic chi really cheapens her journey, but I mean, that's the direction the new movie's taking.
So anyways, Dad is not having any of this. He takes Mulan aside and, wait, is that Z? That sure looks like Z. Yep, there's definitely a resemblance. That's probably not a coincidence. I guess now we know how Mulan is channeling the Z, because her dad is Z. Her dad says, look, you have to hide this stuff, or people will call you a witch, and then people will be mad, and people don't like witches. But wizards, they're fine. Why they're fine, I don't know, but they are. Some more uninteresting stuff happens because the Rorans are attacking. So anyways, the Rorans have like ninjas and they ride in single file so that they can do this. 1 ninja, ah. 4 ninja, ah. There's a guy called Borikan, he wants to avenge his dad, who was also called Borikan. That's the full extent of the characterization, no one cares. So anyways, there's a spooky witch, and she's there for some reason, probably as a dramatic foil to the protagonist, which was also an addition, probably to convey the themes of feminist empowerment. Oh, not witch, warrior. She wants everyone to know that she's a warrior. She wants to be accepted. That's her entire plot.
Can't you be a witch and a warrior? Can't you be both, like a warrior witch?
I think the witch wants respect, and Mulan is also looking for family honor, so they're both looking for some kind of societal acceptance. So the two characters are different sides of the same coin about the theme of feminist empowerment, which is fine. That's fine.
Now let's get to the things which aren't fine.
The problem with the witch is she's just a walking plot point. She tells Mulan how to harness her chi instead of straight up killing her. Then the witch is straight up like, here's the bad guy's plans to kill the emperor. Here's the next plot point. Go to point B. I'm going to fly to the emperor. You can follow me. Mulan, you can turn off your brain. She just doesn't make sense. She's more of a walking, talking plot mover and theme than an actual character. I don't know, let's go on with the analysis. So the Chinese march out to confront the Rorans. Bori and the ninjas start charging, then bail, and Donnie Yen is all like, the coward retreats! Pursue them! This is stupid for so many reasons. Primarily because it makes no sense. Mulan's flanking chase exposes the cavalry to the bulk of the mounted enemy army. In any realistic situation, they would all be massacred. If they're mounted, and chasing it perpendicular to the incoming Roran horde, why don't the Rorans just divert some dudes and kill them? It'd be a natural thing that you see a tiny cavalry detachment come charging into you, you decide to envelop them and cut them to pieces. You know, it just makes sense! But for some reason, the entire incoming enemy horde just ignores the cavalry charging at their leaders. Okay, so even though everyone in her unit dies and the distance is probably unreachably far by now, she keeps chasing the ninjas like a moron. She never learned from her childhood, expecting to take on the entire enemy elite and their leader by herself. She chases the ninjas into the smoky swamp and the witch knocks her off her horse. She says hi because she wants to know who Mulan is or something. Why not just kill her? She's just there, she doesn't know where you are, just kill her with your magic! Oh, I guess she wants to make friends because she feels so alone. So as we mentioned before, she says that deceit weakens your chi, so like that plays into the theme of needing to be true to yourself, but also it makes no sense. You're just giving Mulan information for no reason, but okay. She does a ninja shuriken thing. Why are there so many ninjas in this movie? It's not Japanese! She wakes up after getting ninjaed and decides to be true to herself by revealing who she is. So then, for no reason, she dumps her armor, which saved her life. Did this armor save her life? No, it went through the gap. It didn't save her life. But it would have saved her life if she buttoned up the jacket, yeah. So why dump the armor? Why waste valuable army property? Do you just dump stuff when it doesn't fit your visual identity anymore? This armor could still save your life. I don't understand why you just dump the life-saving protective shell, but okay. You better hope you don't get shot in the chest. So the witch turns into like 100 crows, and the Chinese soldiers do a tortoise, but there are gaps in the tortoise. Oh, okay. If you're a crow, wouldn't you just go into the gaps and kill the soldiers? I don't know. Rorans have a catapult to target the Chinese formations with very, very good accuracy. They fire 2 stones, they hit 2 formations at the center, and then Mulan teleports behind them with a horse. Hey, did anyone in the whole army notice Mulan riding behind you? Any of you?
You'd think one of the hundreds of people would notice.
And then, for some reason, they completely miss the catapult on this one shot, the most important shot that, if they miss on, will bring the entire mountain down upon them. Huh. What a lucky coincidence! So she brings down the avalanche and saves a literal army and reveals that she is a woman. And the commander is like, your deceit is my shame, you've brought disgrace, punishment is expulsion. Wait, hold on. But I thought you said it was death. Consorting with women in any way. Penalty. Death. If we're going to get technical on this matter, Ramona, shouldn't everyone die, you can line up and take turns killing the next dude, you know? Yeah, see, honor's a tricky thing, you know? Like, if it doesn't benefit you, you can't just get out of it. I know these rules. But I guess killing everyone in the entire army based on, like, a deception isn't a good thing, I guess. So Mulan is expelled, the witch comes to find Mulan, is all like, I was a girl like you, we are the same, so now she's Darth Vader, you know, like, come join me. Luke, I'm your father. She wants to be friends. So Mulan rides to the garrison and tells the commander what the witch told her, like the talking plot point she is, and the commander's like, I'm not gonna listen to you, and her friends are like, no, you should listen to her, you should believe her, and then the dudes are like, I believe Hua Mulan.
I believe Hua Mulan.
So now we're Spartacus. Ninjas invade the palace, which possesses the Chancellor, and then the Chancellor, fake Chancellor, says, Boric Khan assembles at the new palace and offers a deal. And the Emperor's all like, prepare my guards, we ride to the site immediately. My people have suffered enough, now I must act. Okay, tactically that's probably not a good idea because Boric Khan's objective is to murder you, and if you're there in person it's far easier for him, he can set traps, all kinds of things, whereas if you just stay there and send all your dudes there, he has to come to you. And you have a well-fortified palace and you know the home turf, you know? But I do understand the principles of heroic combat and it wouldn't make a good movie if you just did nothing, so there you go, next plot point. Mulan makes it into the city, she sees the witch flies off to find the Khan, Mulan chases on foot, and then for some reason, manages to catch up. Mind you, the hawk flies unhindered, really fast, while Mulan still has to climb and jump, and I guess we're just gonna accept it, she's got magic powers, whatever. The Khan shoots an arrow at Mulan, the witch intercepts the arrow and then sacrifices herself for no reason, like an idiot. Just grab the arrow. You can turn into bats, but you can't grab an arrow? If you're fast enough to get in the way of the arrow, you're fast enough to knock it sideways. What's wrong with you? The witch had 6 seconds where she saw the Khan drawing the bow. In that time, she could have used any of her magical powers to eviscerate the Khan into bits. In her own words, she could tear him to pieces before he could blink, but she can't stop him firing the arrow, even though she's got magic powers, okay? So everyone lives happily ever after, etc. And after it all, Mulan in 2020 is okay. It's just okay, and things make no sense, and she's a wizard Jedi, and it's shallow, and it's okay. But it's not redeemed by a sense of humor and whimsy like the Disney original, or the gritty, dark struggle of the 2009 Chinese production. Just watch those two. They've character, they've got soul. I think both previous versions outshine this current one, which is a pity. There's no harm having a new interpretation of the old legend, but, you know, we can just also watch other things. So, in summary, very mediocre. 2.5 stars. This is a wargaming channel. If you like that kind of stuff, you can subscribe, I guess, and like stuff.